Alright, so in today's video, we're going to find out if string gauge does in fact make a difference on tone. This is regarding acoustic guitars. So we've got a phosphor bronze set of acoustic guitar strings by D'Addario here. They didn't sponsor the video or anything, so you don't have to worry about that. This is just the string brand that I prefer. So we've got the 13 gauge versus the 10 gauge. I've got the 13s on right now, and I just put them on a couple minutes ago. This is the Epiphone DR100. It's a pretty decent acoustic guitar for the money. It's about as lowest budget that I would recommend buying a guitar for. It's 140 bucks US dollars, and for that you get a great beginner model acoustic guitar. The neck's really comfortable, and there's no electronics in it, which for me, for a guitar in this price range, that's definitely a plus. You don't want your money going into cheap electronics that don't really sound good anyway. And especially if you're buying an acoustic guitar, I just think that electronics and anything that adds weight to the guitar, unnecessary weight, is taking away from the actual acoustic tone of it. So if you really are going to play out with this guitar, just mic it up. Chances are, if you're buying a guitar this cheap, you're not playing with a band anyway. So if your desire with playing guitar out is just to do open mic nights or at church or something simple for now, I just recommend buying a guitar without electronics and micing it. You'll get a much better sound than you will with a cheap guitar with a pickup. But anyway, we've got laminate spruce top and laminate mahogany back and sides. Neck. The neck is really comfortable. I think I said that already, didn't I? But for this price range, you're not going to get solid wood. And one of the big things with string gauge is that the thicker strings are going to get the top vibrating much faster on an acoustic guitar, which is going to lead to an overall better tone. That's the theory. We're going to test that. The only thing I will have to disclose, I normally don't like putting my opinions on these videos, but the only thing I will have to disclose, because YouTube is going to hide it with the compression that they put in, is that there is a significant volume difference between 10 and 13 gauges. So 10 is going to be a good bit quieter. So just a few things to recap before we get started is, obviously we've got the same exact set of strings, they're just different gauges, and the strings are being put on freshly today. So they're brand new sets of strings that I'm comparing back to back. I'll be playing the same examples with hopefully the same distance between the microphones. I'm going to do my best not to move the chair or anything while I'm restringing. So we're going to have identical playing samples, and in fact, picking the guitar in the same area. I'm going to try my best to do that so we don't have as many variables. So hopefully I can try and isolate that the only variable here is the set of strings, so that what you're hearing is the difference in string gauges. And also I should note that something we'll have to do when I change the strings is also we're going to have to change the action, because the thicker strings are putting more tension on the neck, pulling it that way away from the guitar. So we'll have to adjust the relief in the truss rod, which is accessed through the inside of the guitar here, and then maybe also take a little bit away from the saddle. I'm setting this guitar up for my wife so she can play it a little bit easier. With the 13s that are on it right now, it's definitely very difficult, and I think it came with 12s, but nonetheless, the set of 10s are going to be easier, and I thought while I'm changing it and setting up, why not just do a video? The last thing I want to say before we get started is I totally could have done this on the Martin, but the fact is when you change string sets so drastically and you use two different sets that have such a wide difference in tension, you're going to do a lot of damage to the instrument. You could do a lot of damage. You're going to put a lot of stress on it for sure. Just one reason I didn't want to use the Martin was for that. And also with the Epiphone, we're working with laminate wood, which is stronger than solid wood. And so chances are that I'm not going to hurt the instrument like this. If you are planning on switching string sets, if you're playing with 11s, for example, and you want to move up, I recommend only moving one number at a time. So move from 11s to 12s, and then after a week or two when the instrument is adjusted, take the next step up from 12s to 13s if you feel so inclined. It's totally safe to put something up to like a set of 16s on acoustic guitars. A lot of bluegrass guys do that, but obviously it gets harder and harder to play after that. But for them, those bigger strings sound better, and that's what they like to use. But we'll get to that demo now, and you'll be able to decide for yourself if there is a noticeable difference in tone between 10 and 13 gauge sets. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure you leave a like if you did, and leave me a comment as well if you thought the 13s did in fact sound better than the 10s, or if the 10s sounded good enough. Remember that there will be a volume difference that I can't show in YouTube because of the compression settings, but the 13s are definitely noticeably louder than the 10s. Anyway, I did a couple videos in the last couple weeks with some acoustic guitars. I actually compared this Epiphone to my Martin behind me. So if you thought this guitar sounded decent, I think it's a pretty nice guitar. But check out that comparison. You might be surprised how much better the Martin sounds. Or you might be surprised that the Martin doesn't in fact sound $3,000 better than this Epiphone does. And I'm doing a couple more string comparisons on acoustics over the next couple weeks. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time.